Someone sent two notes on the same morning. The first one says Nancy Guthrie is dead. The second one says she was seen alive. Same person, same inbox, same day, and only one of those can be true. Someone sent a note. Not to the FBI, not to the police, not to the detectives who have spent the last 66 days turning over every rock, chasing every lead, staring at surveillance footage until their eyes burn. They sent it to TMZ. And what was written inside that note, what this person chose to say and how they chose to say it, is the reason I stopped everything I was doing to make this video today. Because this isn't just a tip. This isn't just another anonymous lead in a case full of them. This is something that changes the texture of this entire investigation. And if you've been following Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, you need to hear this. It is day 66. Nancy Guthrie has been missing for more than 2 months. Think about what 2 months means. Think about what 66 days of not knowing feels like. Not for us, not for the people watching at home, but for the people who love her. 66 mornings where you wake up and the first thought that hits you before your feet touch the floor is, where is she? Is she alive? Is she cold? Is she scared? Does she know we haven't stopped looking? 2 months, 66 days, no answers. And then, on this particular morning, on the exact same morning that her daughter Savannah walked back onto the set of the Today Show for the first time since the kidnapping, 2 new notes landed in TMZ's inbox. Same sender, same inbox, same morning. The first note says Nancy is dead. The second note says she was seen alive. Let that sit for a moment. The same person, the same day, 2 notes that cannot both be true. Let me start with the first note, the one that made my stomach drop. The sender writes that Nancy is no longer alive. They say they know where her body is. They say they know who the kidnappers are and exactly where those kidnappers are hiding right now. And they say they are willing to hand over every single piece of that information, the body, the names, the location, for half a Bitcoin. That's roughly $35,000. I want you to think about that number for a second. Really sit with it. The original ransom demand in this case was $6 million. $6 million. That was the price someone put on Nancy Guthrie's life when she first disappeared. Then that number dropped to $70,000, and now we're at $35,000, and even that is split into 2 payments, with the second half only due after a public arrest is made. The price keeps dropping. $6 million, $70,000, $35,000. Each time the demand shrinks, the claims get bigger. Each time the number gets smaller, the story gets more dramatic. And that pattern, that specific, unmistakable pattern, should tell you something profound about who is sitting behind a keyboard writing these notes. The sender also claims they had nothing to do with the crime. They say they've been outside the United States for more than 5 years. They say they're not motivated by greed. They just want to start their life over, quietly, somewhere safe. They just want $35,000 first. And then, a few hours later, the second note arrived. Same sender, same inbox, different story. I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. Sonora, a Mexican border state. It shares a boundary with Arizona. It is approximately 70 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson. 70 miles. This is the first time in 66 days across every note, every tip, every lead in this entire case that anyone has mentioned a specific geographic location, a real place, a real state, a real border crossing 70 miles from where Nancy was taken. I'll be honest with you, when I read that, something inside me shifted. Because specific details matter. Specific details are rare. Specific details are what investigators hold on to when everything else is fog. But here's the problem. The same person who said she was alive in Mexico also said in the same morning that she is dead and they know where her body is. One of those statements is a lie. And if this person is willing to lie about the single most important fact in this entire case, whether Nancy Guthrie is alive or dead, then why would anyone in the world trust a single word they've written? Jason Pock is retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent. He has spent decades doing exactly this, reading communications, identifying deception, understanding the psychology of people who insert themselves into high-profile investigations. When he saw these notes, he identified multiple red flags immediately. The first was the timing. These notes didn't arrive on a random Tuesday. They arrived on the specific morning that Savannah Guthrie, a woman who has not spoken publicly about her mother's disappearance in 2 months, a woman who has been carrying grief so heavy that it has visibly changed her, walked back onto national television for the first time. Pock was direct. Real witnesses don't track the news cycle. If someone genuinely knew where Nancy was, if they had actually seen her alive, if they actually knew where her body was, they would not be sitting at home monitoring Savannah Guthrie's Today Show schedule. They would not be timing their revelation for maximum media impact. They would pick up a phone. They would call the FBI tip line. They would call Crime Stoppers. They would do anything except write to an entertainment outlet on the most emotionally charged morning this family has had in months. The second red flag is the contradiction we already talked about. Dead, alive, same day, same person. You don't accidentally contradict yourself about something like that. You either know she's dead or you know she's alive. If you're lying about one of those, you're lying about both. And the third red flag, the one that Pock said is perhaps the clearest signal of all, is the method itself. Real witnesses call law enforcement. They don't write to TMZ. They don't negotiate through celebrity gossip platforms. They don't demand Bitcoin in exchange for a body location. Every single choice this sender has made, the outlet they chose, the currency they demanded, the timing they selected, the contradictions they left unresolved, every one of those choices points away from someone with real information and toward someone who wants attention or money or both. And TMZ's own description of this sender, their word, not mine, is incessant. This person has been writing to them since February 11th. That's almost 2 full months of messages, 2 months of claims, 2 months of demands that keep shifting and shrinking, 2 months of stories that evolve and contradict and reshape themselves with each new note. And in all that time, through all of those messages, the FBI has not acted on a single one of them publicly. No raids in Sonora, no searches based on the body location claim, no arrests, no press conference, no statement confirming that any detail in any of these notes has checked out. The FBI, according to TMZ, aren't convinced it's credible, and not a single cent has been deposited into the Bitcoin wallet the sender provided. The wallet is empty, completely untouched, 0 transactions. If this person truly had the information they claim to have, a body location, kidnappers' identities, a specific hiding place, you would think that someone, somewhere, would have paid by now. The reward money in this case is $1.2 million. Someone out there wants that money badly enough to come forward, but not one person has put $1 into this wallet. That tells you everything. But here is where this story becomes more complicated, more layered, more painful, because not all of the notes in this case are fake. There are 2 different categories of notes here, and it is critical that we understand the difference, because collapsing them into one story does a disservice to this family and to this investigation. The first set of notes arrived on February 3rd, 2 days after Nancy disappeared. They were sent directly to the Guthrie family, not to the media, not to TMZ, to the family. Those notes demanded $6 million in Bitcoin, and they included details, specific, precise, verifiable details that were not public at the time. Details about what Nancy was wearing, details about the specific nature of the abduction, details that only someone with first-hand knowledge of the crime could have known. Savannah Guthrie herself said publicly on March 26th that she believes those 2 notes, the ones her family received, were real. The FBI took them seriously. They investigated. They tracked the Bitcoin wallets. They contacted Mexican authorities. Those notes had weight. Then a different kind of note started arriving, and it began at TMZ. The first one came February 11th, just over a week after Nancy disappeared. It asked for 1 Bitcoin in exchange for the kidnapper's name, not from the kidnapper, but from someone claiming to know who the kidnapper was. Then more followed, then more still, and now here we are on April 6th with 2 more. The demands keep shrinking, the stories keep growing. Dead, alive, Mexico, body location, kidnappers hiding, the price dropping with every note as if someone is running a clearance sale on tragedy. 2 senders, 2 separate tracks, 2 completely different sets of motives. One set of notes might be real, the other is almost certainly not. And the FBI, quietly, methodically, without public fanfare, seems to know exactly which is which. They investigated the family notes, they tracked those wallets, they involved Mexican authorities. But the TMZ notes? Silence, no action, no response. Just the steady, deliberate silence of investigators who know when they're looking at noise. Jennifer Cafundifer is a retired FBI special agent who has appeared in previous coverage of this case. She did not hesitate when asked about these new notes. She didn't hedge. She didn't soften her language or leave room for doubt. She called them fraudulent, flat out, not credible, not worth pursuing. In her professional assessment, this sender has no real information. What they have is an awareness of a tragedy that has gripped the country and a willingness to exploit it. The Pima County Sheriff's Office offered the statement they always offer in situations like this. All tips and leads are taken seriously and passed directly to detectives working with the FBI. That's the institutional response, and it's the right one to give. But the absence of any action, any search, any visible follow-up speaks louder than any press statement. So let me connect the dots for you one more time, clearly, because I think this matters. 66 days ago, Nancy Guthrie was taken. The people who took her sent notes to her family, notes with real details, real demands, real weight. The FBI took those notes seriously. They are still working that thread. Then someone else entered the picture, someone who saw the media coverage and saw an opportunity, someone who has been writing to TMZ for almost 2 months, feeding them a shifting, contradicting, shrinking story, watching the news cycle, timing their notes for maximum emotional impact. On the morning Savannah returns to television, on the morning a daughter puts on her microphone and tries to hold herself together in front of the country, this person fires off 2 notes. One says her mother is dead. One says her mother was alive in Mexico. Same person, same morning, opposite stories. And every second that we spend talking about those notes is a second not spent focused on the real investigation. Every headline generated by these letters is noise covering the signal. Every moment of false hope or false despair created by this sender is a moment that benefits, however indirectly, the people who actually took Nancy Guthrie. Because confusion is a tool, distraction is a tool. Every fake lead muddies the water just a little more. I want to be honest with you about something. Cases like this are exhausting in a particular way, not because we've run out of things to say, but because the silence at the center of it all is so loud. 66 days and Nancy is still missing. The real notes are being investigated. The fake ones keep coming. And somewhere in between all of it, there is a family, a daughter, trying to hold on. Savannah Guthrie went back to work today. She sat in that chair, she did her job. And somewhere in the back of her mind, through every segment and every smile and every question she asked, she carried what every person who loves a missing person carries: the not knowing. That is the cruelest part of all of this. Not the notes, not the Bitcoin demands, not the contradictions or the TMZ letters or the shrinking ransom. The not knowing. Here is what I need you to think about as you close out this video. If this person genuinely saw Nancy alive in Mexico, if they truly witnessed something real, why didn't they call the FBI? The number is public, it's easy to find, it takes 30 seconds. If they actually know where her body is, if they have held that information for weeks while a family begs for answers, why are they asking an entertainment outlet to broker the deal? And if they're telling the truth of any of it, how do they explain the first note? How do you tell someone a woman is dead and then hours later tell the same outlet she was alive in Mexico? You can't. Those two things cannot both be true. And whoever wrote those words knows it. Someone is lying. And the most devastating part isn't the lie itself, it's what the lie costs. It costs attention, it costs resources, it costs clarity. And in a case where every day without answers is another day of unbearable uncertainty for a family, it may cost something we can't measure at all. Tell me in the comments what you think. Is this person someone on the margins of the case who actually knows something but is handling it recklessly? Or is this someone sitting safely behind a screen watching a family suffer and deciding to profit from it? Because those are the only two options, and one of them is monstrous. If you haven't watched the video about why no one will come forward despite $1.2 million in reward money, it's linked right here. That one will give you a lot of context for why the silence in this case is so much more complicated than it looks. We'll keep watching, we'll keep reporting, and we won't stop until there are answers.